There is a new report concerning child poverty, and officials at Kentucky Youth Advocates say they have seen child poverty increase in Kentucky. The organization Feeding America estimates that about 220,000 Kentuckians in central and eastern Kentucky experience hunger. Poverty and hunger can go hand in hand. Advocates say these issues can affect your neighbors and go unseen.
For most of us, it's no problem to go to our cabinets or our fridge to get something to fix that. But for a large portion, it's over 570,000 Kentuckians. They don't have those resources.
Experts at Feeding America tell us that there is a food pantry in every county in the state. Those same experts say kids across the state are food insecure, which affects their health, schooling, and entire future. In the last legislative session, Kentucky legalized medical cannabis, but we are still one of just 18 states where cannabis is still criminalized. Analysts at the Kentucky Center for Economic Policy recently took a closer look at the Commonwealth's cannabis charges and convictions during the past 2 decades.
There's no county in Kentucky that isn't dealing with this issue. We also found that this year there were 540 people incarcerated for cannabis-related offenses.
Raymer says if cannabis is decriminalized in Kentucky, legalization legislation should include expungement processes for anyone with cannabis charges or convictions. A case over what Kentucky Democrats are calling gerrymandering is being heard by Kentucky's Supreme Court. Democrats believe Republicans violated the Constitution when setting new district lines. The congressional district and state house district maps are the focus of the lawsuit. A map putting Frankfort in the same district as Western Kentucky and another which breaks up Democratic areas are at the center of the litigation.
Well, we are watching out for some nice weather across the mountains into this afternoon. Also tracking, though, an increase in those temperatures for the last week of summer. Here's a live look, though, across the mountains right now from the WYMT studios to down in Perry County at Buffalo Mountain, also up to Rowan County for Moorhead. We are tracking some dry weather, also some very comfortable weather at this hour. Those temperatures are below average in the middle 70s, 75 in Jackson, 73 for Pikeville, and 70 over in Wise, also Grundy right now. So we are tracking some very comfortable weather, also dry this afternoon, also into this evening, all thanks to high pressure, as that will continue to sit over the region for several days. So a stretch of drier weather is on the way. If you have any plans to go out to dinner this afternoon or evening, we do stay dry under that partly cloudy sky, and those temperatures are very comfortable in the middle to lower 70s and some upper 60s later on this evening. But again, we are tracking an increase in those temperatures as high pressure does continue. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. President Biden has laid out his foreign policy platform to world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly. The president called out Russia's war with Ukraine as a violation of the United Nations Charter. He addressed the group of leaders earlier today.
If you allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure? I'd respectfully suggest the answer is no.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is visiting the global gathering for the first time in person since Russia's invasion began. In an interview on 60 Minutes ahead of his speech, he argued the Russians will invade other countries unless they are defeated in Ukraine. We'll have more about what happened at the UN today with WYMT White House correspondent John Decker in just a few minutes. Some new poll numbers from the Pew Research Center suggest most Americans view national politics as dismal. Just 14% of folks surveyed believe elected officials care about the thoughts of people like them. 15% believe all or most serving elected officials ran for office out of a desire to serve the public. A majority of respondents think politicians were motivated by promises of making a lot of money. Working parents know it can be hard to take time off after having a baby. Many are forced to plan births over the summer or go back to work before they are ready. Only 9 states in the District of Columbia currently guarantee some paid parental leave for public school teachers. Katie McNally has been an elementary school teacher for 12 years in Virginia.
Teachers have always been told if you want to have a baby, you just have to time it to have your baby over summer vacation. For anyone who ever had to deal with infertility issues or pregnancy loss, I can't even imagine how upsetting that must be to hear.
Educators can qualify for 12 weeks of unpaid leave under the Family and Medical Leave Act. Back here in Eastern Kentucky, Alley Fest 2023 is on the calendar with plans to fill Paintsville with music for the third year. The event kicks off October 6th with a full day of music, including headliner Willie Watson and a late-night performance from rising star Oliver Anthony. The next day also has a full roster with Ricky Skaggs and Sonora May among the list of voices to pack the venue.
We went back and forth a little bit about if we were going to do it again this year, but we had a great opportunity and great support last year that we got some really good sponsors. And yeah, we're just excited to have it back this year, and best part about it, it's free.
Those involved expect a huge turnout for the free event. Hear more about the upcoming festival coming up tonight at 6. But next on First at 4, the president of the United Auto Workers announces a Friday deadline in their strike.
Plus, temperatures are trending up for the rest of this week. All those details coming up after this break.